Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming back and listening to this week's Monday Motivation Podcast. No more excuses. Yes, this is your hostess, Sandi Ballard, with Growing Forward Success Coaching. So happy New Year. I believe everyone that's listening is celebrating or did celebrate or maybe is celebrated too much yesterday. So I actually read there are 11 cultures that don't celebrate New Year's. Chinese have their own New Year, but they're, I don't know, by chance, if you are listening to this and you did not just celebrate New Year's because of your culture, email me, sballard@growingforward.biz, B-I-Z. I'm intrigued. I always like to hear where people are listening from, like what state, country, city, all that good stuff. But also how. Are you listening through iTunes, Spotify, which is new, YouTube, all that jazz. So how are you going, or how are you listening to this? I always like to hear from my listeners. And thank you for sharing this podcast as well. And December, it's crazy, isn't it? It's always full of last-minute projects, wrapping things up, finishing goals, holiday parties, and either sometimes full of regret or celebration. Many people take, 1 to 2 weeks off, depending on if they have kids or just built up time off. And so if that's the case, you really only have about 11 to 11 and a half months to really achieve your goals. I'm always on my clients starting in October. How are we going to finish strong? And I'm sure you heard it from me if you've been listening to my podcast. How are you going to finish the year strong? And, what are you doing, to do that? And then we always set up our goals as well. So when December gets here and the madness of the holiday hits, you're set up and ready to go. Excuse me. And so, I'll ask you, did you finish the year strong? How did it end for you? Last week, Christmas Day, so I asked, what did Santa bring you? New goals or your leftovers from the years past? Carrying over old goals isn't always bad if you're really going to work on them this year. So is that your resolution for 2018? To actually achieve your goals this year. For those who aren't sure of the difference, a goal is the desired result that you wish to achieve, and the resolution is a decision you intend to keep. Okay? So you can actually make a decision that you're going to achieve your goals, but most people divide the two up. A lot of people confuse the two. So you had carryover goals? Go back and listen to the last few podcasts. Probably 85, podcast 85 up till now. I talk about what you're going to do, how you're going to review, and had you been checking your progress all along, did you change anything or just quote unquote report where you were and hope things will improve on their own? 2018 for me, you've heard me say it, was half great, half for shit. Not that the first shit part was awful and depressing and just, I didn't want to go on. It was just chaotic. I wasn't following my plan. I got off track. I didn't stick to my values. And I really allowed it to affect my mindset. But I didn't sit around and hope for the best. And I sucked it up, pulled up my bootstraps, and I reminded myself, that no one goes alone, that, ain't nobody gonna do this life for me. I've got to live it myself, but it was because I had been checking on my goals all along that I realized I was off and what was happening. And some things were in my control and some things were out of my control. And definitely some things, we always cause it ourselves, but, my energy, once I made that shift, my energy changed, my clients increased, my happiness increased, and all in all, my frame of mind and my business improved. But what did you do? Maybe you kicked ass, right? So last week I asked you to email me, sballard@growingforward.biz, Did you? Did you email me? I wanted you to email me something you've never done before or a goal you haven't achieved and just kind of let it go that you want to revive. So what is something you haven't done before or you've let slide that you will put on your list for 2018? So if you haven't, do that now. And then come back and listen. Okay? So even if you had a rock in the ear, there's always something you haven't done or that you've kind of just pushed aside. It's got too tough or whatever. But, maybe I did hear from some people, hot air balloon ride, which we checked that off the list this year, or last year, I guess, 2017. Have you always wanted to go scuba diving, travel to a foreign country, written a book, save money, we already talked about taking a trip. I don't know, what's something you've always wanted to do? And then even professionally, is there something you haven't done? Maybe it's taken a class to extend your education or something like that. Just, think about that. So let's all stretch ourselves this year, personally and professionally. Okay? We're going to play bigger. Enough screwing around. Because without stretching ourselves, we aren't challenging ourselves to succeed. Yeah, you may have kicked ass and hit all your goals this year. You feel great in your favorite jeans and fuzzy slippers, the comfort zone. But if you're listening to this podcast, you're here for a reason. If you're following me on social media, you're taking my challenges and responding, then you want more. Even if you're not responding to me, you should be, but you're here for a reason. You obviously want more, you deserve more, you desire more. You just may not understand how to get more or how maybe you don't have the balls to take that first step. There's plenty of people out there with perfectionist issues and other challenges for fear and all that, So let me help you work through those things and revive that goal that got tossed aside, or help you work through that challenge of something you've always wanted to do but haven't. Okay, so this week, get a pen and paper. I'm going to ask you, a lot of you, okay? But after all, it is day 1, page 1 of 365, and I want you to be set up for the year, and we're going to play big, all right? Number 1, what's your New Year's resolution? The decision you're going to keep. Number 2 and 3, so big goals, personally and one professionally. Big goals. So whether, again, it's reviving something or whether it's something you've always wanted to do. So again, you were supposed to email me that last week. Whatever. Why didn't you get this done? Was it fear, money, knowledge? Whatever the bullshit excuse, let's just put it out there, okay? And then 4th, what's your word for the year? I always ask my clients, what's your word for the year? So again, New Year's resolution, your big goals, one personally, one professionally, and what's your word for the year? Together, we can and we'll do this. Oh, and I'm setting up probably every other month some challenge days, okay? You can do this privately if you want, but think about what is something that you haven't done before. Maybe it's you're afraid to do it. It could even be as simple as networking. I even helped a client in 2017 do her first podcast because of perfectionism. I'm going to set up some team group challenges, and so if you are interested in stepping out of your comfort zone and facing some of the fears that you've always wanted to face, email me, sballard@growingforward.biz and put challenge day in the subject line, or you can text challenge day to the number 22828. All right? And I'll put you on an email list and send you those events that I'm going to set up here in Indiana. And like I said, let's do this together. Life is a team sport. I look forward to hearing from you. Please share this podcast and have a great new year. Cheers.